All right, so January 2019, we're doing question number 8. It says, complete the table below for the function f of x is equal to 3 plus 2x minus x squared. So to complete this, so this is a table of values. And in this table of values, we have several values of x, and we have 2 missing values of f of x. The value of f of x when x is minus 2 and when x is positive 2 are missing. So I'm going to say when x is equal to minus 2, f of x would be equal to 3 plus 2 times minus 2 minus 2 squared. So I simply just replace x with minus 2. So this is 3. A positive times a negative is a negative. So this is negative 4. And here I'm multiplying 3 negatives, so it's negative 4 again. This looks like it's 3 minus 8. This is minus 5. So the value here is minus 5. That's what it looks like. Now, when x is equal to 2, f of x is equal to 3 plus 2 times 2 minus 2 squared. This is 3 plus 4 minus 4. This is 3. 3 here. So I have all my values. All right. So minus. All right. So let's see what the next now. So I got my values. And is 1 mark him give me for all that work. So let's put in our missing values. We have what? Minus 2, minus 5. That puts me here. We have 2, 3. 2, 3 puts me here. All right, so now I'm ready to draw my graph. All right, let's make this a little smaller. All right, and everybody should remember how you draw a graph. With every movement of your hand, you try and go through as many points as possible. What else? Put the pencil point where you want to start, and then start moving the pen, moving your hand. Do not follow the pencil point to the eye. Just look at where you want the point, where you want the pencil to go to. All right. This is something, your ability to do this takes practice. All right. So I draw my first half. I'm doing the second half now. All right. And so largely I draw my graph. All right, I'm not gonna bother draw it over to get it perfect looking. And this is the graph of f of x. So after I draw my graph, I have to label it. If you don't, you're gonna lose marks. So f of x is equal to 3 plus 2x minus x squared. So it's a negative x squared graph, so we get a frown. Let's see what next. We're asked to, using the graph, to determine the coordinates of the maximum point. So the maximum point is the absolute top of the graph. This is the line, x is equal to minus 1. And this is the line, y is equal to 4. So the maximum point is 1, 4. The maximum point is 1, 4. So the coordinates of the maximum point. So 1, 4 is the max TP. So max TP stands for maximum turning point. The range of values of x for which f of x is greater than 0. All right, so let's go back to our graph. All right. All right, so back to the graph. Your graph is started at what? Negative x is equal to -2, and your graph ends at x is equal to 4. Now, between x is equal to -2 and x is equal to 4, the graph goes from -5 up to all the way up to 4 and then back down to -5. So there's a portion of the graph that is what? Above. There's a portion of the graph that is above 0. F of x is equal to 0, which is this line. F of x is equal to 0 is the x-axis. All right. So between -2 and 1, the graph, that's the red part here, is below the line f of x is equal to 0. Between 2 and what? Sorry, x is equal to 3 and x is equal to 4, the graph is again below the line f of x is equal to 0. But between x is equal to -1 and x is equal to 3, the graph is above the line. The graph is above the line f of x is equal to 0. So the answer to this question is x is less than 3 but greater than -1 are the values of x for which f of x is greater than 0. So between -2 and -1, the graph is below 0. Between 3 and 4, the graph is again what? Below 0. Between what? -1 and +3, the graph is above the line f of x is equal to 0. So x is greater than 3 and x is greater than -1. X is less than 3 but greater than -1 is the range of values of x for which f of x is greater than 0. Now, lastly, is it lastly? No, not lastly, just the A part of the question. So lastly, for this part of the question, we're asked now to determine the gradient of the function at x is equal to 1. So what we need to do is go to the graph and find the point on the graph where x is equal to 1. This is the line x is equal to 1. It's a vertical line that passes through 1 on the x-axis, and it meets the graph at the maximum point. Now, the gradient of a curve is equal to the gradient of the tangent to the curve. Guys, the tangent of a curve at the maximum turning point is a horizontal line. The tangent to the curve at the maximum point is a horizontal line. And the gradient of all horizontal line is 0. The gradient of all horizontal line is 0. So the answer here is m is equal to 0 is the gradient of f of x when x is equal to 1. Turning the page. This says This says Mr. Thomas makes X bottles of juice and Y cakes each day. To supply his customers, he makes at least 20 bottles of juice and no more than 15 cakes each day. Write two inequality to represent this information. All right, so inequality number one, A. This says, first of all, he makes X. X is what? Number of bottles of juice. And Y is number of cakes. We are told that the number of, he makes at least 20 bottles of juice. So X, the number of bottles of juice must be greater than or equal to 20. That is inequality number one. Guys, at least is an inequality term, which means greater than or equal to. Next, we are told that, and he makes no more than 15 cakes each day. No more than is also an inequality term. It means less than or equal to. So B, the number of cakes, Y, must be less than or equal to 15. Those are the two inequalities. Here it is. Each day, Mr. Thomas uses $163 to make the bottles of juice and the cakes. So he uses a total of $163. Now, the cost of what? One cake is $3.50. Sorry, the cost of one bottle of juice is $3.50, and the cost of one cake is $5.25. Write an inequality to represent this information. Guys, here it is. So the cost of a bottle of juice is, so this is cost, is $3.50. $3.50? Yeah. And the cost of a cake is $5.25. Guys, if every day if every day I make X cakes, and if every day I make X bottles of juice, and each bottle of juice costs $3.50 to make, it means every day I spend $3.50 X per day on juice. So it's the number of bottles multiplied by the cost of one, plus $5.25 Y. That's the amount of money I spend making what cakes. How much money do I spend altogether? No more than what? $163. Guys, if I have money to spend, I can spend the exact amount I have, which is 163, or I can spend what? Less than the amount. So the amount of money I spend on juice, 3.5x, the amount of plus the amount of money I spend on cakes, 5.25y, must be less than or equal to the total amount of money I have to spend, which is $163. Here it is. Show that on any given day, it is not possible for Mr. Thomas to make 50 bottles of juice and 12 cakes. All right, now let's see now what is the cost, the total cost for 50 bottles of juice and 12 cakes. Total cost. It's 50 times $3.50. That's the amount of money for one juice. So multiply that by 50, I would get the cost of 50 juice. Plus 12 cakes would be what? 12 times $5.25. So let's see how much money this is altogether. Putting this in my calculator. This is 50 times 3.5 plus 12 times 5.25. This is, to make this, he would need $238. All right, now this is not possible because he only has what? He only has $163 to spend. So on every given day, it is not possible. So this is not possible. Because Mr. whatever his name, Thomas, does not have that amount of money. So it's not possible because Mr. Thomas doesn't have that amount of money to spend to make cakes or what juice. The maximum amount of money he has to spend is $163.